that I learned too is that it's really, really easy to see other people's greatness. It's not so easy for me to see my own. And a lot of time, because our greatness is so natural to us, because it's what we were put here to be great at, it's so natural to us, we don't even realize that we're really great at it. We just assume if we're good at it, everybody must be good at it. It's very important to let people know that they're great. Because a lot of people go through this life not ever being told that they're great. And they go through this life, and I know I came from a very supportive family. I am very close with my family. I am extremely blessed when it comes to my family. And I still had all of these stories, and I still had insecurities, and I still had self-doubt, and I still had limitations on what I thought was possible for me. And it took a total stranger, and actually think about this. Your best friend can pay you a compliment, or a total stranger can pay you a compliment. Which one carries more weight?
The stranger.
The stranger. I do photography as well. And my whole life, people have been like, wow, you're such a good photographer. Your pictures are amazing. Your pictures are great. And I'm like, yeah, you're my mom. Thanks, Mom. Well, the first time that I went to like a vendor event and I had my photography out to sell, and total strangers were like, you took this? You did this? This is amazing. I'd be like, really? You really think it's good? I was like blown away. And then I realized that I have these natural, God-given, natural abilities, whatever you want to call them, talents, whatever your inclinations are, whatever it is that you're just kind of naturally good at. I realized not everybody is naturally good at that. And that is something that's special. And that is something that, not to be proud of as in I'm better than you, but just to own a greatness and to realize that's a gift that was given to me. And it was a gift that was given to me not for me to keep for myself, but to share with other people. And I can't play the guitar really well, and I'm not really drawn to play the guitar really well. So luckily other people have that God-given talent. Other people have that natural ability. But if someone doesn't know, if somebody has a story, okay, this is even better, I'll just make it about me. Part of the reason that I didn't claim that I was a photographer or give myself permission to be a good photographer is because I had a story in my mind that a photographer was only a photographer if they went to school and they studied it full time, and that was like their thing, that they had like a piece of paper that said photographer. I didn't realize that I could take my natural ability, not ever take a photography class, and still have permission to be a photographer. Don't let these things happen to you. My husband is a very talented musician, but he could have a story in his head that he's not so great because he's just making it all up as he goes along, and that anybody can use the software and can do it. Well, yeah, that's true. Anybody can learn a software. Anybody can take a photography class. But you have that talent naturally. You're drawn to it naturally. You fill it out, figure it out naturally. And I can't sit down behind a keyboard and recreate the same music that you can do. And don't wait for somebody else to give you permission to be great. And since I know that I was waiting for somebody to give me permission to be great, and then and again, what's going through my head is probably going through everybody else's head. How many people in my life are waiting to be given permission to be really great? So I give you all permission. You all now have permission. Shine. Shine brightly. The way that only you can. Because only you were given the gifts that you were given. And you were given them for a very specific reason. And again, it wasn't given to you so that you can keep it for yourself. It was given to bless the lives of other people. So all of these kind of things I keep in my mind. So when I meet somebody and I see something they're great at, I don't let them sidestep it. I'm like, whatever, girlfriend, you are amazing. You are spectacular. Because I don't want somebody around me to go through their life suffering because nobody's given them permission to be great. So in practicing with strangers, because it's funny, because strangers can carry the heaviest weight, but at the same time, they're the best people to practice with. Because if you piss off a stranger, chances are you're not going to see him again. If you say something wrong or do something wrong, there's a really good chance. You know, just think about it. Think about all the times that you've snapped back at somebody. Think about all the times that you've been standing in line and somebody gave you attitude and you gave them attitude right back. I mean, it happens a lot. I know it's happened a lot for me, so I'm sure it happens. There's probably more people operating that way than not. Because it's that again, letting your mind control the situation. So I started practicing with strangers. I just started practicing connecting deeply. I just started conversations with people just to see what happened. And I found some people weren't interested in having conversations back, and that's okay. It had nothing to do with me. At first I thought that it did, but it had nothing to do with me. They just aren't conversation type people. Other people were really open and just naturally just had this little flow. But had I not started the conversation, it would have never happened. So then I take like my networking opportunities or social gatherings, and instead of sitting back and thinking about all the cool things that I could start a conversation about, but not doing it, I just started doing it. I just started risking failure. I started risking rejection from other people in the chance that I might succeed. And guess what happened? Every time that I was kind to somebody, they were kind back. Every time that I complimented somebody, they were nicer to me. Every time that I would just risk looking like a fool by saying, "You are so beautiful," and have them think whatever stories they think, I don't care. If other people are going to make up stories about it, but that person has a better day, it was worth it to me. So I just started experimenting. And then as I started building relationships, that's what my relationships were based on. And I learned beyond a deeper meaning than I ever had before, this saying that I believe to be true is that we teach people how to treat us. If you teach people kindness, they are going to give you kindness in return, period. And if they don't give you kindness in return, don't make up a story about why. It has nothing to do with you. It's none of your business. It is not your job to be the world police or the person who decides who gets love and who doesn't get love. It's only your job to give love and be love to everybody that you meet. So I just started testing the waters, and I just started risking being rejected. And I found that when I put myself in these risky, so dangerous social situations, I get better results than I ever thought were possible. And then that made me feel good, and it built my belief. And then I realized I am making all these amazing relationships everywhere that I go, and people are thinking that I'm really something because I'm showing them that they're really something. And I was doing this everywhere with all these people that I don't have history with and I don't have baggage with, but then I was still having the same cycles happen in those relationships that had been established for a while. And then I thought for a moment, gosh, how come everybody else sees my greatness except for the one person that I thought would see it the most? And then I had to realize, what am I doing in these relationships that I'm not doing in this one? In these relationships, I'm giving the benefit of the doubt that the person can do no wrong. In this relationship, I'm expecting him to behave the way that I want him to behave. In these relationships, whenever somebody does something wrong or says something offbeat or, again, wrong, says something not to my preference, I can just, whatever, no big deal, change the subject, keep on going, and not hold it against them. This one, I hold everything against them. This one, I'm creating the magic. This one, I'm creating suffering. So how can I take the things that I'm doing in these relationships and apply it into my lasting ones? And that's what I started doing. These relationships work well because I'm constantly seeking for why that person is great. So in this relationship, I'm going to start looking for all the reasons why he's great. In this relationship, I am paying compliments like nobody's business. I'm complimenting everything. If I see something that I like, I tell you. If you say something that's smart, I tell you. If you have a good idea, I praise the heck out of you. If I see a talent, I make you feel like you're the best thing in the world. This relationship wasn't doing any of that. So I just had to start taking those same things and applying them into my relationships. So then I'm asked all the time, how do you deal with those negative people? What about the people who don't have that same philosophy that I have? I want people to behave to my preferences because it makes my life really easy. It keeps me in this blissful state where I don't ever have to confront anything, and I don't ever have to be challenged with anything, and I don't ever have to be wrong. If everybody behaved the way that I prefer for them to behave, life would be a cakewalk. But it would be really, really boring in a way because you wouldn't have that contrast. How do you know if someone's nice if you hadn't dealt with somebody who's not nice? How do you know when someone's really generous if you haven't dealt with somebody who's stingy? Better yet, how can I become aware of areas that I could be a better person if I don't have somebody else reflecting that it's lacking? So I just take those same principles, the appreciation, the applause, the affection. There's 4 A's that Deepak Chopra talks about. And I know that I should know these off the top of my head, but if I give unconditional love and acceptance, bottom line, to strangers out and about, why wouldn't I do that to my mom, and to my dad, and to my sister, and to my husband? Again, all of them really great relationships as they are, but they're not quite as fun as these over here. Why? Because I realized in these relationships, I was behaving the way that I had told myself I had to behave in order to get their love and acceptance. And I was also putting conditions around what behaviors would receive my love and acceptance in return. And because they were in place for so long and they were developed subconsciously, it was harder for me to see them. It's like you can't see the forest because of all the trees. It's a lot easier to see where other people are screwing up in their life than where you're screwing up in your own. At least it is for me. It's a lot easier for me to see where somebody's being unfair and unjust and prejudiced and judgmental than it is for me to see it. Because again, to me, it's common sense to me, or else I wouldn't do it.